Space news will always sound like a movie plot. This is just another terrifying aspect. Expert astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams are currently in a big fix, stranded above the Earth's surface 62 miles, 100 kilometers away, and it's generally accepted as the place where Earth ends. The spacecraft they used for the ISS has undergone intense damage. Options to fix this damage are unclear. In a desperate attempt to save the astronauts, NASA and the Boeing crew are not letting up. Right now, it seems risky and embarrassing for Boeing that their option isn't working out. Will they resort to using alternative means from their rivalry company to rescue the astronauts? Or will they have to prove their competence? Let's see. Recall that space travel is challenging. Even more challenging is space travel for humans. For more than a month, Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams have resided on the International Space Station. On June 5th at 10:52 a.m. EDT, Florida's Cape Canaveral Space Force Station saw the successful launch of Boeing's Starliner spaceship, carrying the astronauts into orbit after years of delays. However, the young spacecraft soon encountered a number of problems. 5 different helium leaks were found in the spacecraft's thruster system, and the reaction control system, RCS thrusters, which are crucial for orienting the vessel safely to re-enter Earth's atmosphere, failed 5 times. Many of the Starliner's thrusters appear to have overheated as a result of the helium leaks, casting doubt on the ship's ability to navigate back to Earth. It appears to be a critical situation. The anxieties and responses of these astronauts can only be imagined. Unbelievably, the mission management team, made up of NASA and Boeing personnel, initially maintained that Starliner would still be able to safely return Williams and Wilmore in the case of an emergency. Data on the propulsion problems were being carefully examined, simulations were being conducted in Houston, and potential solutions, such as software updates or modifications to hardware usage considered. One can't help but wonder, what has been going on with those stranded heroes? In order to pass the time, what do the astronauts do? According to a NASA statement, these two, with plenty of free time, have been researching free-flying robots and space plants. They are evaluating how different-sized plants and root models might absorb water in microgravity. Wilmore and Williams, according to NASA and Boeing, are also integrated with the Expedition 71 crew on the International Space Station, ISS, and are assisting the crew with station operations as needed in addition to fulfilling objectives required for NASA to potentially certify Starliner. Those experiments must feel ridiculous. Aren't they supposed to be wallowing in anxiety at this point? Originally, it was planned for the two to arrive on June 14th after spending a week assessing the spaceship and its systems. Unfortunately, Starliner's mechanical problems prevented the astronauts from leaving the ISS, stranding them there indefinitely. With the terrible problems at hand, it is amusing to hear that these astronauts approached the situation with ease. Nevertheless, a brave statement from Wilmore sparks up some good energy. I have a strong feeling that this spacecraft will successfully return us home. Failure is not an option, as you've probably heard, which is why we're staying. We're going to test it. That's what we do. Recognizing that their return depends on an ongoing examination of thruster testing conducted on Earth by Boeing and the US Space Agency. What exactly is the plan for their return? The general public's perception seems to indicate that using other options may be necessary because, even if NASA approves the team's return, Starliner's thrusters will be used to undock the capsule from the ISS and start the roughly 6-hour flight home. During the descent, the capsule will gradually tighten its orbit before landing with the help of airbags and parachutes at one of several possible locations in the southwestern United States. It is necessary to carefully follow the precautionary procedures to make sure that the thrusters and any other affected elements are in good enough condition and have the correct configuration for the return trip. The 2 passengers' lives are obviously in jeopardy. Reaching this objective also doesn't seem like a quick fix. Multiple experts contacted by dailymail.com say, NASA may feel compelled to undertake a rescue mission and may use Elon Musk's SpaceX to execute it. Other reports also stated that one alternative would be to send Wilmore and Williams home aboard SpaceX's Crew Dragon spacecraft if Starliner is unable to safely return them to Earth. Even though it seems doubtful, Boeing would surely find such a scenario embarrassing. In addition to hurting Boeing's pride, using SpaceX's Crew Dragon spacecraft would be extremely detrimental to the company, as it has already spent $1.5 billion more than it originally agreed to pay NASA for the Starliner, which was intended to be a backup spacecraft for ISS flights. It seemed that the public had been waiting for words from NASA regarding enlisting SpaceX's help. General Manager of NASA's Commercial Crew Program, Steve Stitch, addressed the public at a second news conference saying, "We're taking time to build confidence in the spacecraft to understand the thruster performance. Our actions are typical for a newly launched spacecraft." According to Mr. Stitch, Starliner would hopefully return by the end of July, carrying Mr. Wilmore and Ms. Williams. Sending another Dragon to rescue the Starliner crew has really not been discussed, Mr. Stitch stated. Could it be that NASA was defending Boeing's pride? Perhaps this could explain why the astronauts, who are stranded and expected to look concerned, are expressing confidence. Obviously, there is teamwork going on. Boeing needs to have faith in its own goals. Nevertheless, the machine has left, and no precise return date has been specified. The astronaut pair's return trip was originally scheduled to begin on June 14th, but according to the most recent reports, it has been postponed once more and is now anticipated to commence in early July. It's taking way too long. NASA may think of further ways to save lives. What other option do you think might be employed for this operation? SpaceX? Keep in mind that this will hurt Boeing's ego. But if NASA's attempts to save Sunita and Wilmer fail, then using SpaceX is the only practical course of action. I can imagine Elon Musk's and SpaceX's pride if NASA and Boeing finally asked for their assistance in rescuing astronauts from the International Space Station. Naturally, Elon Musk and the members of his crew have tested and verified spaceships that are capable of completing this mission. The Crew Dragon is one of these devices. Let's discuss it. As many as 7 passengers can travel to and from Earth orbit aboard the Crew Dragon spaceship. It's the first private spaceship to carry passengers to the space station and the only one that can return substantial amounts of cargo to Earth at this time. The Dragon spacecraft comes in 2 varieties: Crew Dragon, which can accommodate 4 crew members, and Cargo Dragon, which is a replacement for the original Dragon 1 and can accommodate up to 7 crew members for space travel. The spacecraft is made up of an extensible trunk module and a reusable space capsule. The capsule splashes back to Earth after the spaceship launches a Falcon 9 Block 5 rocket. It has proven to be the most economically viable spacecraft that NASA has ever utilized. Under NASA's Commercial Crew Program, Crew Dragon's main function is to carry crews to and from the International Space Station, ISS. It replaces the Space Shuttle's crew orbital transportation capabilities, which were removed from service in 2011. Along with being utilized for commercial flights, some of which go to the International Space Station, Crew Dragon is also anticipated to transport humans to and from the projected space station of Axiom Space. The last time a NASA astronaut required a backup means of transportation home was in 2022, following the arrival of 2 cosmonauts and American astronaut Frank Rubio to the International Space Station when Russia's Soyuz spacecraft experienced a coolant leak. NASA had thought of using Crew Dragon to get Rubio home, but in the end, it used a Russian-launched empty Soyuz spacecraft as a rescue vessel. The duration of Rubio's mission was increased from 6 months to just over a year, or 371 days, which set a record for the longest stay in space for an American. Wilmore and Sunita might not be prepared to shatter another record, in our opinion. Given the length of time, they may eventually feel compelled to come back to Earth. Despite rumors to the contrary, the primary purpose of the postponement is to monitor every obstacle associated with the Boeing Starliner in order to identify and address any potential future displays. Based on this belief, it appears that NASA is not opposed to SpaceX providing assistance. Boeing will probably just feel embarrassed by SpaceX's helping hands. Due to unexpected engine performance and a possible unanticipated slow fuel leak, NASA has postponed Starliner's scheduled return date in order to gather more data about the spacecraft. Let us not forget that space travel is difficult. Furthermore, spaceflight, including humans, is considerably more challenging. Starliner's design undoubtedly included a number of backup mechanisms which helped the spacecraft reach the International Space Station without incident. NASA is gathering additional data since, even with backup systems, it's critical to comprehend unforeseen circumstances. However, if the situation worsens, or if the problems continue after the data gathering, NASA won't think twice about implementing swift fixes. This is a glaring evidence that astronauts make incredible sacrifices to contribute to the advancement of space exploration and deepen our understanding of the cosmos. As NASA plans for future rescue operations, the importance of safety becomes ever more crucial, especially as humans prepare to venture to the moon and beyond. SpaceX will likely be required as significant problems persist. The return date for the two astronauts is still unclear. The desired means of NASA and Boeing to bring them back to Earth isn't feasible at the moment, but we're still waiting to see. Do you think NASA and Boeing's perseverance will be enough to resolve the Starliner spacecraft's issues and return the astronauts to Earth? Do you believe that Crew Dragon from SpaceX will be required? Kindly leave your comments below with your opinions. Remember to subscribe, like, and share our channel. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video.